Hello everybody, welcome to the 2023 HustleNHoops NBA Awards show. First time, and extremely excited to be bringing you guys my picks for the NBA 2023 official awards. Now, this is going to be individual player awards. I'll have all NBA and all defensive teams and all rookie teams as a separate video. Right now, we'll be covering individual awards. As per usual, Hustle and Hoops style, we'll be going bottom to top. Start with Clutch Player of the Year is De'Aaron Fox. Don't even have to think twice about that. One player comes to mind when watching games this season who has closed out fourth quarters consistently and with a tenacity that you don't often see. That dedication to winning. And De'Aaron Fox, I don't know what he's averaging in the fourth quarter in clutch time today. We're not really doing stats. We're talking more about ball, watching ball. Do you watch ball? I do, and I know that stats is something that I heavily lean on this channel, but gotta rely on the knowledge of here and there. But anyways, De'Aaron Fox, despite probably averaging the most points in clutch time, happens to also have some of the best closing players, closing lineups next to him with Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. That's a dangerous ass lineup. You close with De'Aaron at your 1, Monk at the 2, Huerter at the 3, Keegan at the 4, and Sabonis at the 5. Not many teams are able to stop that offensively. Now defensively, there's some question marks, but we're talking about Clutch Player of the Year, and that De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, if you think it's anyone else, you're stupid. It's De'Aaron Fox. Now, we got another Kang for the awards, and this is another obvious one. Should be unanimous when it comes to voter results. Mike Brown, Coach of the Year. Simple as that. To take a Kings team that hasn't made the playoffs since the early 2000s and to completely revamp the offense. Now, obviously, the acquisitions of Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray and last year's pickup of Domantas Sabonis does a lot for Mike Brown, gives him a lot of tools in his toolbox, but it's up to him to use them and utilize them correctly. And I think, he's really given De'Aaron the green light that De'Aaron has needed, and not just to shoot, but to play the way De'Aaron plays. And that is very important and has been very important to their success. So just hats off to Mike Brown and the whole Kings organization. Now, Rookie of the Year, another pretty obvious one. We're gonna knock out these easier ones first. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, made a case later on in the season, had a 20-30 game streak of averaging like 20-25 points per game, played really great, but at the end of the day, Palabanquero is going to be Rookie of the Year. You look at his shooting splits and it's difficult to justify the 3-point percentage, but the fact that he's been able to do what he's been able to do without a 3-point shot is actually more of the way to look at it. And to come in as a rookie and be one of the centerpieces of this young up and coming Orlando Magic roster is super exciting and really nice for Orlando. Super excited to see what they got coming up. Sixth Man of the Year. This one's fucking tough, I'm not gonna lie. I actually did a deep dive on all 4 of these players in order to figure out who deserves it most. And I'll give you my top 4. We had Emmanuel Quickley, Malik Monk, Malcolm Brogdon, and Isaiah Joe. Now, the reason that I believe all those guys deserve, I'll go one by one. Malik Monk, coming off the bench for Sacramento, has been an absolute spark plug. We looked at what he could do in Charlotte, and someone who was a huge fan of him at Kentucky, in high school, I just really, really wanted to see him succeed and be on a team where he could be happy and be himself. And reuniting him with De'Aaron Fox seems to be a really good step in the right direction for his career. And he makes a strong case, but when it comes down to it, Brogdon, Isaiah, and quickly beat him out in most of the other categories. that I looked at. Now, Malcolm Brogdon, coming off the bench for the Boston Celtics, we all knew when he came in last offseason that this was, just such an under-the-radar, huge acquisition for Boston. To have someone come in and literally, now when Marcus Smart and Derek White and, the other ball handlers are off the floor, you've got a guy who can maintain that level of offense and efficiency that Missoula ball requires. So Malcolm Brogdon, really, really solid piece for the Boston Celtics, and could be really huge for them in the playoffs. But Isaiah Joe has truly, truly come in for this OKC team and been one of their most consistent pieces off the bench. And considering the fact that J-Dub and Trey Mann and many others come off the bench for that OKC team, considering how many others come off the bench for that team, to stand out the way he does is commendable. And, you have to give him credit where credit is due. However, at the end of the day, when it comes to sixth man of the year, it's Immanuel Quickley. Whether it be on defense, where he holds his defenders to below 7% of their usual field goal percentage, I believe, which is nuts, or the fact that he completely carries this offense when Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are not on the floor. Immanuel Quickley has completely solidified himself a spot in New York's hierarchy, and I'm super excited to see what New York has to offer and what they can do in this playoff run. Most improved player. Got two candidates in my eyes for this award this season. Gilgeous-Alexander, jumping from 25 to 31 points per game, leading his team, who we all thought, or at least some of us thought, would be a playoff play-in team, to have essentially secured that play-in spot at this point, and to have done it on the back of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That will be talked about more probably in our All-NBA teams. But the true winner of most improved player, Lauri Markkanen, easily. Jumping from 14, 15 points per game to 25, making all-star starters for the first time, and to have this, jump in Utah to be, posting the most dunks and what is it, first player in NBA history to, a certain amount of three-pointers and dunks. Good for him. Very happy for Lauri Markkanen, starting off with Chicago and making his way to Cleveland, where we saw that huge lineup. And we can even remember moments like when he was up against Steph Curry and blocked Steph Curry's jumper. Lauri Markkanen has always shown promise. Bulls fans were always super high on him, but all-star starter, 25 points per game, efficiently leading a Utah team that we all thought would be trash after the Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell trades. And they are trash, but at least they're not awful. They're not god awful. And a lot of that has to do with Lauri Markkanen. So congrats, Lauri. Probably gonna win this award. And now DPOY, last two. Brook Lopez versus Jaren Jackson Jr. That's what it is. We all know it. And when comparing their interior defense one by one, it's very, very close. It's very, very close. And I think the fact that Jaren brings what he brings on the perimeter gives him that slight edge. And that's why I give Jaren Jackson Jr. the Defensive Player of the Year. Not just because of his perimeter defense necessarily, because Brook is playing a role of a drop big. So he's not gonna play perimeter defense ever. But Jaren's on-off numbers for the Memphis Grizzlies are just astronomical. They're ridiculous. Him on the floor, their defense is elite. Top 5. I think 4. Off the floor, yeah, not so much. But can he stay on the floor? That's the only gripe against Jaren Jackson Jr. that anyone would really have. And it is what it is. But to see that he's doing what he's doing in 24 or 25 minutes, that's nuts. So congrats on the DPOY, Jaren. Now, I thought this was gonna be a tough one. I did my deep dive. I compared. I contrasted. I watched, it's fucking Jokic. It's still fucking Jokic. My MVP is Jokic. I don't know how else to explain that in every fucking way except for defense. This man is probably one of the best offensive players that we've seen in this generation, and he deserves 3-time MVP back to back to back. He deserves it, especially after that bullshit little crystal ball shit that they tried to pull on him, that they did pull on him. And this is not to discredit Joel Embiid. This is not to discredit Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is not to discredit Jason Tatum. This is not to discredit anyone's case for the MVP. This is simply saying that Nikola Jokic has proven, third year in a row, that he might be one of the best offensive players we've ever seen. To be so dominant at the rim and in the mid-range, and have that be your second or third best trait, that's not okay. At the level that he plays that's not okay. It's not okay. For playmaking at this point to be almost like a side piece to his off-ball movement and creation for others through just screening and clearing the lanes and positioning himself. He just knows how to manipulate every defense. He's read and finessed every one of your favorite team's defenses. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what fucking accolades you got. Nikola Jokic is just gonna cook you. And at least he don't duck the smoke. But I don't. That's it. I ain't got shit else to say. Appreciate y'all. It's been a year. It's been a season. Got the playoffs. That'll be fun. Then we'll do this all over again. See y'all in the next one. Chicken wraps. Peace.